but today I want to talk about what differentiates your resume from all the other resumes. All right? So be different, stand out. And I want these, you look at this picture that's up here and you're like, all these signs and everything is like, how is anything going to stand out? Well, we're going to give you some real simple ways that your resume can stand out, and it's not just going to get lost in the stack of 100 other resumes. I want you guys to just go down the line, say what job you have, but then I'm going to come back and ask you what differentiated you. Why did you get that job? Why did you get that internship? Justin, would you start off?
Hello, so my name is Justin. So I had an internship at BWXT just down the road.
Yep. So you had an internship, but how did you get that internship?
So initially I met one of the guys at in high school. So they do things in the local area with students. They have like a mentorship program, and it was through that I was able to connect with this guy. And it wasn't until 3 years later till I was, in college ready to look for an internship when I reached out to him. And by that time he had rose up through the ranks. He was a manager, and I really had a good impact on him working with him in high school, that he, gave a good word and, helped me out.
All right, so Justin made a contact with someone who later became a manager and went into a hiring position. So every person you meet, even the students that are around you, one day you may be sitting, right now you're sitting next to someone that may be a CEO of a company, and they're going to remember you and call you up and say, oh yeah, I remember Daniel, he was in my class, and he'd be a great for this position. So you don't know who around you that is going to help you get to the position that God wants you to be in one day.
All right, I have an internship for this summer. It's at a company called Olin. It's actually not an engineering company. It's a chemical product manufacturing company, but I'll be within like their engineering department. And how I got that was basically I applied to probably over 50 internships through LinkedIn because I figured I should try for every opportunity that there is, and if none of them get back to me, it's not meant to be. And actually this company was the first one that emailed me back, and I got an interview with them. The interview probably went longer than they wanted because I talked for a long time. So it took over an hour, and I guess they were impressed because they emailed me back.
Okay, so why were they impressed with you? What differentiated you?
Well, I think one thing that they look at for your resume, they look at your technical skills and your experience, and then when you interview with them, they want to know your soft skills. They want to know who you are as a person, what you can bring to their company, the different perspective you have. And so one thing for me is that I'm actually really young for an engineering student, I guess. So I turned 18 in November, and I interviewed with them when I was 17. And I got that internship, and I graduated early, started Liberty early. And so they were really impressed with me that I was a sophomore at 17. So I guess that's what made me stand out.
Okay, so how did you get to be a sophomore at 17? What did you do over COVID?
Well, I was homeschooled up until high school. Yeah.
Let's go.
I know, it's not uncommon. But actually in high school, I went to public school. And my junior year is when COVID, overtook the world. And so my school shut down, and I noticed that my school really didn't know how to do online school, and I was basically teaching myself. So I was like, I might as well drop out of this public school and finish early and go to college while I can. So I finished over the summer what was supposed to be between my junior and senior year, and then started at Liberty in the spring of 2021.
Yeah, so you see how Audrey was very proactive. Yeah, she's proactive, took the initiative, and that's what they saw on the resume. And so that's how she got this job. So congratulations on that. Haley, you've had a number of internships, and tell us, what internships you've had. I think you have a job lined up right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have a couple, but I still have to pick.
All right, so she's in a great position, numerous internships, number of jobs that she can choose from. Tell us the different internships, jobs, and what differentiated you.
Okay. I kind of got jobs through like 3 different outlets. So I guess the first internship I scored was as a power engineer at Black & Veatch, which is a design contracting company. I went to a career fair at NC State with a couple friends. I just went for a road trip. I wasn't planning getting a job, but I was able to really connect with some of the engineers at that specific campus and got called back for an interview. And a lot of it, like how you said earlier, was they look at your technical skills first, but they want to also know your soft skills and how you can converse technically and how you can converse as a team as a whole. And I got another internship the same way through the Society of Women's Engineering conference with Lockheed Martin as electronics engineer. And that one also, they also paid a big attention on how well can you communicate your skills and your soft skills. And my third internship is with Walt Disney Imagineering as a ride engineer. That one was through an online application, but also I made a lot of networking. I did an unconventional route. By my junior year of college, I was kind of a bit burned out and I needed to get a bit more motivated for the future. So I decided to take the Disney College program. And from there, I really took the opportunity during my time to network with local engineers. A lot of them went to my church in the Orlando area. So I was able to really talk to the different Imagineers, different engineers. So when I applied, they recognized who I was. And I was able to get a couple interviews and score the internship. So networking really helped me out there to stand out. And then, one more.
Good.
Another one.
She's
that
at
really
18 internships.
Yeah. Another one is just online application only, but I currently work at Framatome as an intern, as an electrical engineer. But that one was just an online application.
Okay. So all different routes that God has brought you in, and I know Haley. We've had numerous conversations, and the way she makes decisions, and I'd say everyone that's on this stage, the way they make decisions is they just go to God. God, what do you want me to do? All these options. How do you want me to use my time? Who do you want me to connect with? Who do you want me to reach out to? And so then God is directing their path. What jobs do you have to choose from now?
Currently, I'm choosing between Lockheed Martin, Framatome, and I'm having my final interview with Walt Disney Imagineering in Glendale.
All right, excellent. Congratulations and on all that God's done. And I believe you're also double majoring, is that right? You're double major? All right, so computer science and electrical, right? Okay, excellent, congratulations. All right, Josh, tell us your story, where you're interning, job, and how you got it.
Yeah, hopefully this isn't too loud. I speak loud as it is, so.
They'll turn you down the back
All right,
or
great.
just cut you off.
So I'm currently interning at FlowServe. I work there now part-time during senior year, and they've sort of offered me a full-time job after I graduate. And I got that through networking as well. I knew someone in my class who knew someone who was a year older than us who graduated, got a full-time job. The co-op opened up. He offered him the job, and then my friend referred me for the job, and that's how I got that. But what they said, like, they didn't even interview me. They just brought me in, and they said the reason they did that was they looked at my resume, and I had a lot of experiences before that. So my first internship I got through a guy at church who graduated from Liberty Computer Engineering. So they had the really small electrical engineering company, and I did a small project for them over winter break. The second one, I think God divinely provided because it was during COVID, and I applied a bunch of different stuff and nothing came through. And this is just a testament to if you consistently pray, there's like that passage in Scripture about the persistent widow who keeps like praying over and over and over, and the judge finally gives her what she wants. And I prayed like every day. Like I have this prayer list I pray through every day, and I had an internship, and I was praying every day for an internship. Nothing was coming up. And I was having lunch with a neighbor, and they were like, hey, like I just needed a job over the summer. I just needed to make money. And they were like, hey, there's this factory. They pay all right. You should try it. And I applied there. Well, I put my resume in. I probably overdressed for like a factory line interview, but it was good because I went in and they said, are you coming back in the fall? And I said, oh, I'm like an engineering student. I've got a student work job, so that's where I'll be going. And they said, oh, did you submit your resume? And I was like, yeah, I submitted my engineering resume for like a hands-on factory job. And they're like, oh, we'll send it over to the engineering department. And I ended up working for them all summer and then also over winter break, and I got a really good experience through that. So that's
so
my
you
story.
took the opportunity that opened up. You didn't care what it was. I'm just going to get a job. The door opened, and you walked through it in faith, and God opened up another door and another door. And so you see how that works? You just take the opportunity. It may not be your first choice. It may be your 10th choice. It may not even been on your list, but you take it, and you say, all right, this is what God's doing. I don't know what he's going to do next, but I know he's going to do something. Ariana is going to talk a little bit about her internship. And now some of you are maybe discouraged that you've put out 50 applications, you haven't gotten any internship offers, nothing's happened. And she's going to share one opportunity that's 100% guarantee you will get this internship. I know you're excited to hear this.
So my name is Ariana, as he said, and this past summer I was interning with a missions organization called SIM, and I was in Paraguay for 2 months, and I was working with a structural engineer who had connections to the missions organization. And looking back on how I got there, it was definitely the Lord. It was a nearly 2-year process with COVID in the middle of it all. Starting just going around at Global Focus Week and talking to everyone that looked like they had anything to do with engineering or construction. And it was a wonderful experience. I learned so much. It was my first real kind of engineering job, working on a project that was real and not just for class, and also learned so many wonderful skills in communication. It was all in Spanish, so having to learn to communicate not just in English in general is difficult, but to do so in another language with the engineering terms. I learned a lot of skills from there. I learned a lot about God and about ministry as well. While I was there, I was working with the engineer on the weekdays, and then on the weekends I was going and helping with the different missionaries and seeing what their ministries were and what they were doing there.
In these mission organizations that focus on engineering, retired engineers that have been in industry 30, 40 years, 50 years, they volunteer. And now you get to connect with those people that are highly networked in industry. You get to work side by side. Do you think that would be a good opportunity for the future? Absolutely. And so we've got a slide here, some engineering mission opportunities. And so we put this slide together. There's like a half a dozen of mission opportunities. And when you do the engineering missions, they accept you 100%. You may have to raise support, but God will provide for that. But now you've got something the next summer to put on for your resume, right? You volunteered, doing humanitarian aid and engineering, and they're like, oh, wow, you volunteered and you went, to another country. And so that's a huge bonus selling feature that differentiates you.
And I would say, too, it definitely is a neat experience to put on a resume, but it's definitely so much more than that, too. It's something that you'll take with you, I think, the rest of your life.
I think so much so that you're thinking about doing engineering missions, I believe, right?
I am, wherever the Lord would lead.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. Joshua.
So, like you said, Mr. J, I think the verse that I think of when I'm talking about this is trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him. And that verse really comes to mind because I feel like I'm supposed to share this story that last week I was in an interview and they asked random questions, and then they asked, why do you go to Liberty University? Why did you choose there? And so, of course, I just start off with the default, engineering, and then I start thinking, wait a minute, why am I saying that? Why is this the answer that's coming out? And it was because I was kind of worried about what they think if I just told them straight up. It's because I feel like God led me here, and I was praying about it, and that's where I was supposed to go, and then he opened up the funding, and here we are. But I realized that the reason I made it through all the internships that I've had is because God opened those doors, because I trusted him. It didn't make sense. A lot of these things, like all these stories are talking about, is they prayed every day. They trusted God. They told the story about how they just met people randomly and they took advantage of those God-ordained opportunities like the dean talked about, those connections we don't even realize, because that was their mindset and perspective. And I realized in that moment, I wasn't acknowledging God. I was just talking because I was afraid. And so I just was like, fine, I'm just going to tell them. So I straight up told them, and this was General Dynamics weapons system group up in Michigan doing their testing stuff. And I was like, yeah, I was praying about it, and I felt I was supposed to go to Liberty University, and that's where God led me, and it's been really cool to see what God's done since then. And they kind of paused, and they continued on with it. But it was that choice that if God is truly as big as I believe, and as we say he is, then he's too calculated to not have a plan for this stuff. But if I trust in what he's saying, then I'm going to be able to actually find that plan. And so next day they called me and they're like, yep, we're offering you the job. And it was an affirmation of that fact that it was being able to be real like that. But that realization that if I'm approaching this like the world would, what's the point? What does it profit a man to gain the whole world, get all these internships, all these experiences, unless I'm acknowledging God in all my ways? Because that's when the promise of he'll directing my past comes into play. So that's what I would say is the differentiator, is that it's trusting God's plan and being real and honest about what my purpose is, and then going after that, just like Josh was saying, praying every single day that God, you take me where you want me to go, and then being real to acknowledge that. Because I think we get these opportunities and we say, oh, it's because of my resume, oh, it's because of whatever it is, when really we prayed about it. God brought those connections. That's what happens. And that's every internship. My resume is not something I used to get indoors. It's just a testimony to the doors God's opened. But yes, I do apply. I apply to 50-some things. I scatter those seeds. But it's seeing where God takes me in that. So that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, so creationeers. Yeah, thanks for bringing the truth. That's the truth. So creationeers, what differentiates you? Come on. What differentiates you? God, the Holy Spirit in you, the one that raised Jesus Christ from the dead is in you. That's what differentiates you. All right, so when you go to those job interviews, those applications, do not have fear to say, oh yeah, I'm a Christian and I've got the creator of the universe. That's who I follow. That's who I get my inspiration from. And so when you have that opportunity, just speak it out, speak into it, and God's going to bring about what he desires to bring about. These guys are going to stick around afterwards for a few minutes, connect with them. These are the people you want to network with, people that have, 2 or 3, 4 job offers, that one day, some of you guys on this stage right here, I have no doubt are going to be CEOs, presidents of companies, and you're going to be hiring other Liberty students, I have no doubt, by God's grace and glory. All right, give it up for these guys.